Good Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversation 30 News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, we made it to the last day of August, even though it is only Tuesday, and I hope you guys have had a great month. I know that we have, with a lot of exciting things coming up for you guys in September that we'll be announcing starting tomorrow. For today, there will, of course, be news headlines coming up. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you're being part of my conversation with actor Michael Jai White. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation 30 News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Tuesday headlines. In international news, last troops exit Afghanistan, ending America's longest war. The United States completed its withdrawal from Afghanistan late on Monday, ending America's longest war and closing a chapter in military history likely to be remembered for colossal failures, unfulfilled promises, and a frantic final exit that cost the lives of more than 180 Afghans and 13 U.S. servicemen and women. Hours ahead of President Joe Biden's Tuesday deadline for shutting down a final airlift and thus ending the U.S. war, Air Force transport planes carried a remaining contingent of troops from Kabul airport. Thousands of troops had spent a harrowing 2 weeks protecting a hurried and risky airlift of tens of thousands of Afghans, Americans, and others seeking to escape a country once again ruled by Taliban militants. In announcing the completion of the evacuation and the war effort, General Frank McKenzie, head of the U.S. Central Command, said the last planes took off from Kabul airport at 3:29 Washington time, or 1 minute before midnight in Kabul. He said a number of American citizens, likely numbering in the very low hundreds, were left behind, and that he believes they will still be able to leave the country. The airport had become a U.S.-controlled island, a last stand in a 20-year war that claimed more than 2,400 American lives. The closing hours of the evacuation were marked by an extraordinary drama. American troops faced the daunting task of getting final evacuees onto planes while also getting themselves and some of their equipment out, even as they monitored repeated threats and at least 2 actual attacks by the Islamic State group's Afghanistan affiliate. A suicide bombing on August 26 killed 13 American service members and some 169 Afghans. The final pullout fulfilled Biden's pledge to end what he called a forever war that began in response to the attacks of September the 11th, 2001 that killed nearly 3,000 people in New York, Washington, and rural Pennsylvania. His decision, announced in April, reflected a national weariness of the Afghanistan conflict. Now he faces condemnation at home and abroad, not so much for ending the war as for his handling of a final evacuation that unfolded in chaos and raised doubts about U.S. credibility. Al-Qaeda has been vastly diminished, preventing it thus far from again attacking the United States. In national news, Hurricane Ida traps Louisianans, shatters the power grid. Rescuers set out in hundreds of boats and helicopters to reach people trapped by floodwaters Monday, and utility repair crews rushed in after a furious Hurricane Ida swamped the Louisiana coast and ravaged the electrical power grid in the stifling late summer heat. Residents living amid the maze of rivers and bayous along the state's Gulf Coast retreated desperately to their attics or roofs and posted their addresses on social media with instructions for search and rescue teams on where to find them. More than 1 million customers in Louisiana and Mississippi, including all of New Orleans, were left without power as Ida, one of the most powerful hurricanes ever to hit the U.S. mainland, pushed through on Sunday and early Monday before weakening into a tropical storm. The damage was so intensive that officials warned it could be weeks before the power grid was repaired. In more national news, state mask bans face federal civil rights challenges. The Education Department on Monday opened civil rights investigations into 5 Republican-led states that have banned or limited mask requirements in schools, saying the policies could amount to discrimination against students with disabilities or health conditions. The department's Office for Civil Rights announced the investigations in letters to education chiefs in Iowa, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Utah. Those states have issued varying prohibitions on mask requirements, which the office says could prevent some students from safely attending school. The Education Secretary, Miguel Cardona, accuses the states of putting politics over the health and education of the students they took an oath to serve. And finally, in business news, S&P 500 and NASDAQ notch more records even as the Dow slips. Gains for several big tech stocks helped push the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq Composite to more record highs on Wall Street Monday, even as weakness elsewhere in the market since the Dow Jones Industrial Average and small company stocks lower. The S&P 500 also set a record high last Friday after investors welcomed an update from the Fed Reserve. In a speech, Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell helped ease concerns that a key factor in the market's solid gains this year, low interest rates, will remain that way as the economy continues recovering from the pandemic. The S&P 500 added 19 points, or 0.4%, to close at 4,529. The Dow fell 56 points, or 0.2%, to close at 35,400. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's our time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Remove clutter and excess from your surroundings. A calm flow of energy will encourage feelings of serenity when you remove any clutter or excess from your surroundings. All of us have times when we desire to purchase items, and too many of them create feelings of stagnant energy. When an item no longer serves, it can become part of a disorganized, cluttered lifestyle. As you clear your surroundings, it encourages a flow of abundant energy. It also improves your mental, emotional, and physical states. The luxury of things you think you crave may be instead created by clearing your surroundings of clutter. Organize and clear any unnecessary clutter. As you enjoy the day.
Actor Michael Jai White is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight. We're here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Actor Michael Jai White joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about his extraordinary career and what it's been like for him to see his response from his fans. Here's a bit of our conversation.
But you've been in this unique position, Michael, of being able to do what you love, not only in front of the camera, but also in martial arts. What has that been like for you, Michael, to take your passions and to be able to share them with all of us?
Well, I mean, I'm blessed behind it because, I get a chance to do what's in my heart. And so, but I felt blessed early on because there was a time where I learned that I was following my dream. And once I learned that piece of information, I felt like, okay, I've already won. Everything else to me is just, it's gravy, So that's my attitude going forward. And no matter what, I'm going to continue to try to just do my best.
You've been able to reach people who enjoy, the dramas, enjoy the comedies, enjoy the action. How does that feel to have this cross-section of support from so many different arenas you've been a part of?
It feels great. I guess I keep moving forward, and I don't really reflect too much on it. I know it's a good thing.
Gotcha.
But so much that I want to accomplish that I'm not very reflective a lot of the time.
Talk to us about that project and what it's been like for you to see the way that, especially during the pandemic, people have been responding to it.
Well, I'm finally getting the chance to play characters that are closer to myself. I understand I have to pay the dues and, play characters that sometimes, paint you a certain way. There were people that used to be just frightened of me because I played a lot of these rough characters, and friends of friends would say, "Oh, I saw Mike," but I didn't want to go up to him because, I'm kind of scared. I'm like, no. My friends are like, no, he's a nice guy.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll be back to you guys on tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course, the Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.